Hello and welcome to What the Hey, where I'm your regular host of What the Hey, and today on What the Hey, I am once again answering yet another question. When I go to my notebook of knowledge, I see the question of what the hey is Lord of the Rings? Now this question comes from Mr. 2007, so hello to you and thank you very much for the question. Now in terms of a very basic description, The Lord of the Rings is a series of fantasy books that essentially encompass the story of a hero's journey against evil. If I had to give a very non-detailed rundown of what Lord of the Rings is about, I would say that it encompasses the story of magical creatures and different races over Middle-earth that encounter each other and dispute and discuss the fact that there is a looming evil centered around a ring. And I mean, they gotta destroy the ring, but that's super complicated. The absolute unit of a mastermind that created this series would be John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. Some people used to think that it was pronounced Tolkien, but no, it's Tolkien. It's got an E in there. Now, The Lord of the Rings itself was split up into 3 different books, hence making it a series. Now, the 2 first books, The Fellowship of the Ring as well as The Two Towers, were done in 1954, while The Return of the King was done in 1955, so all relatively done within a close time span. I will also mention that there is The Hobbit, which lore-wise takes place before The Lord of the Rings, so if you want to get a head start on what The Lord of the Rings is about, you may want to read The Hobbit first. Now, to give you a more general overview of what The Lord of the Rings is about, I did want to mention the setting, which takes place in Middle-earth. However, there are so many other places within Middle-earth that are mentioned, like Erebor, the Dead Marshes, you have Isengard, Moria, Mount Doom, Rohan, the Shire, as well as Rivendell. And then on top of that, you have a bunch of different characters that visit these settings, so let me go into that now. I'm going to give a very broad list of characters, but I feel like they're very important to the series. A lot of the characters throughout the series range from stuff like hobbits to elves, as well as just regular humans, but it really just depends on where they come from. But overall, you got a lot of characters like Bilbo Baggins, Frodo Baggins, Gandalf, Sam, Pippin, Merry, Aragorn, Gollum, Saruman, Gimli, Legolas, and Boromir, and there's a lot of other people that end up dying throughout the series, so just read it and you'll find out. But what a lot of the characters within Lord of the Rings do is try to help basically the main character, Frodo Baggins, carry this ring to throw it into a fire and destroy it because it's just super evil. And that doesn't really go into the seriousness and detailed capacity of it at all. So let me tell you how you can know what's going on in the series. So of course, if you want to catch up on the main original material, you of course can just read the books, but I know everyone is not a reader, they don't like to read fantasy books, so there are other options such as watching shows. There's apparently going to be a newer one this year, so if you want to watch that, feel free. There also are the very famous, very well done films. There are quite a lot of them and they run for quite a while, especially if you get the extended versions. So just be careful and try to drink water and stay healthy while watching them, especially if you watch them in a row, because that is like a tremendous feat. There is also the option, if you don't want to stare at a screen or you don't want to read words on a page, you can listen to an audiobook. So if you want to travel to New Zealand and act like you're in the story, there's an option for you as well. Now, before I go into my general opinion, I did want to point out the big impact that The Lord of the Rings has created. I feel like there are 3 main categories that The Lord of the Rings has contributed to, which would be cosplay, popular culture, as well as languages. Cosplay, of course, is so cool, but when you have people dressing up like they're hobbits or they're from Rohan, it's just way cooler. I mean, in terms of popular culture, you got franchises like VeggieTales doing a whole Lord of the Rings themed episode. It's crazy. And then as far as languages go, of course, Tolkien decided to be super big brain and make an Elvish language for the series, and it's apparently legit, and you can study it if you want. So if you want to be an elf, there you go. But in terms of my general opinion, I feel like The Lord of the Rings as both a film and book series is fantastic. I've watched all of the films and the extended versions for The Lord of the Rings. I've also watched the stuff for The Hobbit and read that, and that's also great. I think in terms of my favorite character, I really do like Aragorn as well as Samwise Gamgee. I think they're both great. But I think one of my biggest takeaways from the series is probably the sets. Like, my sister just wants to go to New Zealand because of Lord of the Rings. Like, it's just so cool. I also love the costume designs. They're really well done. I think the only thing that I didn't like about the Lord of the Rings was the stuff with the spiders. I don't like spiders, so when you have this giant spider, same thing with like Harry Potter. I don't like spiders, so when it's like they do that with spiders, I don't like it. I do also have to say, I don't think I'll find any pictures of it, but there was a time when my sister, my cousins, and my brother and I did like a fan-made video about like The Hobbit where I was Bilbo Baggins and I looked really epic. Like, we literally went down to my neighborhood pond on stick horses, and we made my brother pretend to eat like a stuffed animal fish to be Gollum. Like, we went all out. So yes, I do have a fond appreciation for Lord of the Rings. I think it's really great. But that's essentially the answer to the question, so if you have any questions, let me know and I'll get to working on them as soon as I can, but that's essentially it. So thank you very much for watching. Bye!